Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting and Committee of the Whole meeting. Tonight's City Council meeting is called to order. I kindly ask our clerk to please take the roll call.
Bowering,
Here.
Bruno,
Here.
Ruby, Kilber,
Here.
Kasserag, Maladra,
Here.
Marks,
Here.
Mayor,
Here.
Paschke,
Here.
Swanson.
Here. We begin our council meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance, and it's my honor to invite the International Cultural Exchange Committee to please lead us in the pledge. The whole group.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I think at this time it'd be appropriate, would it not, to invite the chairperson of ICEC? Do you have a few opening remarks, Cynthia? Do you want us to get a photo of you speaking?
Hi, good evening.
I'll get one.
Good evening, Mayor Burns, City Council, and staff. Once again, it is our pleasure to be here to introduce AFS exchange students that will be spending the year here in Geneva. I'm Cynthia Albright, President of ICEC, which stands for International Cultural Exchange Committee. So we're here this evening to welcome AFS students once again to live and spend a year or part of a year here in Geneva. The ICEC mission statement is connecting cultures here and abroad, and this just fits right in with what we hope to do. A former board member, Denise Snyder, who's here this evening, suggested this idea a couple years ago to engage City Council in meeting these new adventuresome, bright students. And following that group of talented young people, this can only make you realize what the world awaits, right? Yes. So this activity is actually new to ICEC because this is our only second year in being here with the City Council. However, the history of Geneva High School with AFS goes back a long time. AFS, since 1961, has hosted 118 students from 32 countries of 5 continents represented. That's really quite an awesome record. This year there are 5 students. I believe all of them are here this evening with their families. And teacher advisor Liz Simpson is the AFS advisor at the Geneva High School. Thank you for what you do. It really speaks very highly of our town to welcome these young people, to welcome into daily lives, getting to know them, getting them to know our town, opening homes to them. Everyone is enriched when we do this sort of thing, sharing life stories, customs, and traditions. So we thank all of you, Mayor Burns and City Council, for being here this evening and welcoming them. Ben McCready helped us coordinate this as well. And I will introduce Mary Jane Johnson, who will introduce our students this evening. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you again for having us here tonight. I'll be brief, but I think it's important to say what the mission of AFS is, to create a more just and peaceful world. I think we need that right now. So we have some wonderful students here, and I'll start with the student that I am a liaison for, Lucie Garnier from France.
We pronounce this Lucie?
Lucie, yes.
Lucie. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you.
What grade are you in, Lucie?
I'm 12th grade.
Oh, you're a senior. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. And your host family is?
Family Alice, yes.
Well, look at that. Off the record, how's it going so far?
What? Sorry?
And you're having a blast?
What's a blast?
A blast means like lots of fun.
Yeah.
Are you having lots
I
of
have
fun?
A lot of fun, yeah.
And you're learning all sorts of neat things? Are you?
Sorry.
Are you experiencing new things?
Yeah, sure.
What do you find to be the most surprising? Not about the host family, just about Geneva.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Everything is very different, but I mean, there's different like culture and everything, but people are very nice, so that's,
Good.
Yeah, very like, that's nice.
Now, I've got to ask you about your sweatshirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like, I was in a field trip with my like digital photography class, and we were in the University of Illinois, so.
Got it. Are you playing any sports or any extra, are you? What do you play?
Basketball.
Well, of course you do. And what position do you play?
4.
Forward.
No, yeah, 4. Like, I don't know.
Oh, the position for you, that
Yeah,
would be
sorry,
forward.
I
Yep,
don't get-
exactly,
yeah.
forward. So you're strong forward, right?
Yeah,
Of course you are. What's Coach Meadows? Does she like having you on the team?
Mirrors, yeah.
Isn't she great?
She is.
She's extraordinary.
She's really, really
She's
nice.
really nice. Do you find a difference between United States basketball and European basketball?
Not for now. Like, it's pretty similar. I mean, it's the same sport, so that's
Yeah,
nice.
so life is good. We
Yeah.
don't play with 6 people here and 5 in Europe?
No.
I don't think so. Okay, good. And what's your favorite subject, Lucy?
I like my speech class.
Oh, you do? And who's your speech teacher?
Mr. Buska. I don't know how to say his name. It's like Breka. Breka.
Oh, nice. And may I ask, what do you like best about speech?
I think it's a very fun class, and I can like improve my English skills. I mean,
You do a marvelous job.
thank you. I don't think so. But so no,
Magnifique. Yeah.
yeah, no, I like this class. It's like a funny class, and it's like no pressure, and I like it.
Good. Now, after high school, then what?
I want to do like law studies.
Law.
Law.
Oh, law.
Sorry.
Law?
Yeah.
Really? And do you have a school picked out for law yet? I presume you'll return to France?
And I have to do my senior year because.
Oh, you have to do it again?
No, I.
They have
Like-
13 there.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I had 14.
Baccalaureate?
13 is normal there.
You and I have something. Yeah. You and I have something in common. I was held back for 14 years. So after senior year, then in Paris, off to law school. Wow. Or college, I guess, then law school.
Yeah, but it's not the same in France.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, there's not college.
Life
It's
is
like-
good.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah, called
universities.
university, like they do. I know Germany calls it university as well. Okay. So what kind of law do you want to study?
I don't know how to say it in English. It's maybe like, no, I really don't know how to say it in English.
Environmental?
No.
No. Contracts and boring stuff. No, is that?
City attorneys.
It's like, no, it's like societies and everything, like
Oh, okay.
contracts and yeah,
Fun.
boring stuff.
No, that sounds great. What else should we know about you, Lucy, that perhaps the whole world who's watching, you're on TV right now. So share with them something special about you, which of course you are special anyways.
I don't know. I have a dog,
You have a dog. What's your dog's name?
Stallone, in France, but here it's Teddy.
Teddy.
Here it's Teddy, but in France it's like Stallone.
Oh, and did you bring the dog with?
No,
No? And what number are you going to wear for the Vikings this year for basketball?
20.
20? Is that a good number for you? Is that a lucky number for you?
I don't know. I never tried, but it seems great.
Oh, good. Council members, the floor is open. Any questions or comments for Lucie?
Welcome.
Bienvenue.
Anaïs, you speak French?
Oui, je parle un petit peu français.
Oh my, how do you say, what the?
I won't say that.
No, don't say that. Floor's yours.
No, I just welcome.
Oh, turn that on. That's okay.
Oh dear. So no, welcome. It's lovely to see you, to meet you. I hope you have a really wonderful year. And yeah, your English is wonderful. I'm so glad you'll get to improve it. I've spent time doing immersion in other countries, and it's sometimes challenging, but really rewarding experience. So I hope you have just a wonderful year.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
I can.
Next, from Spain, we have Joaquin Ibiza Esteve.
Joaquim, how are you? Good. Good. Buenas noches, sí?
Kim, Joaquim.
No, what?
What?
He's asking you.
Yeah.
Ah, thanks.
Yeah, no,
You too. Sorry, my English is so bad.
no, your English is great. Clearly, my Spanish
Sometimes.
is bad. So what grade are you in? What year?
12th.
12th, senior.
Yeah.
And do you play sports?
Now I'm only in Ultimate Frisbee.
Ultimate Frisbee, that's
Yeah.
the sport, man.
Well, it's Frisbee.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you
I
play
like
at Wheeler Park?
Wheeler Park? No, I play in. Yeah.
Oh, that's not that? That's disc golf? Oh. Oh, that's really cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Do you wear a number?
Yes.
What number?
I'm the 24th.
24.
Yeah.
That's good. So, is your family with you tonight? Your host
Yeah.
family?
My brother.
What's up, brother? Is that really your brother?
Yeah.
Host brother.
Host brother.
What's your name? Where do you live in town, man?
Right by
Nice. Fisher Farms? Double F? So how's life in Fisher Farms?
Good. I
Is
like
it,
it.
is it good?
Yes.
And you are acclimating, you're getting used to everything here in America?
Yeah, like it's good. It's beautiful and I like it.
Yeah, good, good.
Yeah.
And where in Spain are you from?
Valencia.
Ooh, beautiful.
Yeah. The
Wow.
beach.
And in Spain, you have lots of friends?
Yes.
And do you have a nickname? Do your friends have a nickname?
Yes.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Kim.
Kim.
Yeah. It's shorter.
Just Kim as opposed to Joaquin.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And what do you want to do after your senior year?
My last year in my high school.
Yes.
I have one more year.
One more year. Then after one more year, then what?
Then the university, maybe engineer.
Engineer.
Yeah.
Nice. So you like the math, science, all that stuff?
Yeah. But
That's the kind of enthusiasm we want for a good future engineer. Do you have brothers and sisters?
yeah, I have one sister.
Well, is she older or younger?
Is younger.
You know, she can watch this meeting tonight.
It's-
You know? Yeah, she can tune in. It'll be up live tomorrow on YouTube channel.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm sure you sound excited. What do you like most about high school in Geneva, Illinois?
Maybe I like my culinary
Oh, really?
art class.
Yeah, culinary arts, yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe your culinary arts teacher just received the Teacher of the Year award in culinary arts in the state of Illinois. Pretty cool. It's very cool. What's your specialty when you're quite the chef, obviously, so what do you like to cook?
Crepes.
How do we pronounce that? Crepes, that's right. I learned that the
No,
hard way.
I pronounce it in Spanish. I don't know in English.
No, it's very, very good, very
Oh,
good.
perfect.
The floor is open. You don't speak fluent Spanish too, do you?
Sí, hablo un poco español también. Bienvenido. We'll run out of my languages eventually. I hope you also have just a wonderful year. Welcome.
How do you say show off in Spanish? ¿Cómo se dice show off?
Show off. I don't know the translation, but
Oh, there's not a translation? ¿Cómo se dice braggadocio? Muy inteligente. Ah, de nada, de nada. Thank you very much.
thanks.
Thank you.
Next, this one is a bit of a challenge. Abimanyu Daniel Kodamena Severin.
Wow.
And he is from Indonesia.
Indonesia, isn't that great? Mr. Sembering, how do you like me to address you? Is there a particular name you'd like?
Okay, you guys can just call me Daniel,
Daniel it is.
because like it's way more easier. I know, right?
Oh, that's perfect, Daniel. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And what grade are you in?
I'm in senior year right now.
Is everyone senior?
Yes,
Gotta be, okay, got it. Good. We got that issue behind us. Senior. And how goes it for you? Everything going well?
I love it. Everything is just so nice. I love to be part of like a Geneva High School. I'm forever grateful to like joining this program because
Wow.
like it's such a life-changing experiences. Everyone in here is super, super welcome and really treat me like so good, and I'm having a great life right now.
Well, now I have goosebumps. You didn't practice that, did you?
No, I'm not.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And classes are going well?
Super.
Super.
Yeah.
What's your favorite class?
Culinary arts. Yeah.
Look at this. That's so cool.
Yeah, because we don't have it in Indonesia, and yeah, and like having like a more active and creativity classes
Yeah.
are such a new thing for me, and I love it.
And what is your specialty in culinary arts?
We cook a lot of like units. It's like sometimes we bake, we cook, but like I love the crepes one because like it's like I have a lot of techniques. Yeah, so I love it.
It's always important to make nice with the school board president's wife. So you're doing a very good job. Well done, well done. So what else do you do besides go to school?
Currently, I'm in my church choir, and also I do a lot of volunteering right now since I'm the part of the Key Club. And
good.
I love volunteering here because like volunteering is really helping me to like learning about how the culture is, how the like people like behave in here, because like we can meet a lot of people in a different sector. Like last week, I helped the marathon for like a disability children, and also I go to Kiwanis meeting and a lot of stuff that I found like so cool. I do volunteer because I've learned a lot of it, and also I can be impactful too while doing volunteering, so I love that so much.
Absolutely. And you and I met last week, didn't we?
Yes, exactly.
At the Kiwanis Club meeting.
Yes.
That was a big meeting. We had 20-plus people there. That was a
I know,
very big
right?
meeting.
Yeah.
I think we took a selfie, didn't we, or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I follow the Key Club Instagram account is wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. So, in Indonesia, do you come from a big city, a small town?
I come from like a tiny island that maybe you guys cannot even like spot it on the map.
Really?
It's really small though. It's like kind of like a Dutch influence, so like we have a lot of like a Dutch infrastructure there. And I'm living in a dorm, and it's like really like in the forest.
Wow.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of challenge I could say to like joining this program because like I have to like not only work with myself, but I have to like working with the Wi-Fi connection. Like, yeah, it's like so challenging to like upload thing here and something. And it's kind of worth it though. Like everything that I fight for, it's like so worth it when I step my foot in here. Everything's just like paid off.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Geneva's a nice one.
So if you want to, do you have if you want to address Comcast right now, do you have Comcast in Indonesia? Just go ahead and speak into the camera. So later in life, Daniel, what is it you want to do?
Okay, so I'm really interested in diplomacy because like, yeah, I'm a part of like a national children organization since like 4 years ago. So I've like been volunteering at their organization since like 2019, since I was in the middle school. We volunteer a lot. We help like children with like that they need issue or something that they need help, and I'm just like selected as my state representation, like my province representation. So I go to like the capital of Indonesia and like tell them about like what my children in my province like facing off, and I'm really like seeing to like helping people and like helping people and being impactful is like a great thing to do. So I kind of like interest with diplomacy, and by joining the AFS thingy, the YES program, it's like really enriched my point of view about being a diplomat. So I really want to be like a connector or like a bridge of understanding between my country and another country, which is like right now I'm being like a bridge of understanding between
you are.
Indonesia and America. And I love to do that because like I love to learn new culture, and I also love to share my culture to everyone that want to like learn about my culture. So I think after I repeat my senior year, I will take my diplomat school, like international relation, because I really, really love international thinking. Yeah.
Well, it's obvious.
Thank you.
Well said. Well said. And do the challenges your fellow students in Indonesia have, are they similar to the challenges our students in Geneva have?
Oh, it's really different, I think, because like I think like in Geneva, you guys have a super duper cool facilities. I would say like my first day at school is just like so overwhelmed because like you guys have a lot of cool stuff, which is like a lot of people like have like easier life in here. Like you guys can like have a Chromebook for free. You can like have like connection everywhere, and the teachers like make you guys like so easy to learn something new. And like in Indonesia, I'm living like a bigger town in my island, but there's also like more smaller town that didn't have connection. They didn't have like enough like educational facility, and it's like really hard for all of the children that really want to learn, but they have like put a lot of effort. So like it's like kind of the challenge that maybe seems different, and I'm really grateful to be here because like I can like like figure it out what its differences, and maybe can go back to my country after and like improve the educational thingy.
Very good.
Yeah, so it's like so cool.
Well, you're already an extraordinary ambassador
Thank
for
you.
your community and for Indonesia,
I take it as a compliment.
as you should. Very, very, very impressive.
Thank you so much.
What's one thing you want to share with us about your culture that we older people should know?
This T-shirt
Yeah?
is like one of my authentic T-shirt. Like yeah, so it's like having like a pattern, and I like want to share with you guys about this T-shirt because like it means a lot. It's like means like our like how our people back in Ambon is like really like so bonded. So like if you guys like wear this T-shirt, it's such a pride, like it shows like who we are. It shows like everyone in Ambon have this T-shirt, and it's like show that like if you guys are family, you guys probably have like a same T-shirt, like the same T-shirt for everyone. So like it's like how we like identified ourselves as a family.
Oh, interesting.
We have this thing, so like if like people go like abroad and using this T-shirt, it would be a pride for them because like that means like even though like we're like in a small island, even though we don't have like a lot of facilities, but we can like represent ourselves. We can represent Ambon. We can represent Indonesia, even though abroad like in different part of world. So I want to like I want to share you guys my T-shirt to like show you guys that this is me. I'm from Indonesia. This is my pride, and I hope you guys like be happy to see me with my culture and happy to see me in Geneva. Yeah,
We certainly are. Absolutely.
because I'm so happy to be here.
And you're wearing that T-shirt,
Yeah, it's called Chele.
Chalet,
Yeah, Chele.
and it's being broadcast worldwide.
Yeah. So it's not surprise.
We get 3 viewers a night.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad. That's like 3
Oh, thank you.
people know about this T-shirt and know about my country.
Yeah, exactly. That's so cool. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. I really
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Well, that's a hard act to follow. From Germany, we have Julia Wolterstorff.
Alderperson Bowering, should I just defer?
Ja, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. I don't speak Indonesian. Willkommen. Gute Nacht. Gute Nacht. Willkommen. Danke.
I was going to say Guten Nacht, but Guten Nacht is not correct. It's just Willkommen. Willkommen. Welcome.
Thank you.
How's senior year going?
pretty good.
Very good?
Yeah.
Good. And your host family's here?
My host now is here.
Yay! Life is good. Now, when I was in high school, we had a young lady, her name was Karin, from Germany. She lived with us for a year. And it was a different world then. It was fascinating. What, much like our friend Daniel, what do you want to share with us about your experience in Germany that perhaps we don't know about?
I don't know, honestly. There's a lot of differences in everything. Also, especially in how you greet people and how you behave.
Ooh, how do you greet people?
In Germany, if you ask someone how they're doing, they will tell you the hard truth. Like, if they're not doing good, they'll tell you, my day has been so bad.
Really?
Yeah.
So how you doing?
Actually good.
That's good. That's good. And do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a host sister and 2 host brothers.
Oh, that's fun. And you're getting along just swimmingly?
Yes.
Life is good? Having a blast?
Yes.
Having a blast? And what are you doing besides just going to school?
I have Fiber Arts Club on Tuesdays. It's like crocheting and knitting and stuff.
At the high school?
At high school, yeah.
You know, there's a beautiful facility that grew up in Geneva, as you probably know, Mr. Johnson, the Fine Line Art Studio, which is located in St. Charles. They do knitting, crocheting, unbelievable. Yeah, weaving, it's just extraordinary. Pottery, you name it. It's really neat. So have you always knitted and crocheted?
Not always. I've always had like a hang for doing some creative stuff, but I love knitting. My friend got me into it here.
Really? Are you an artist as well? Do you draw
Yeah.
and paint? So where can we see some of your work? Are you going to be involved in the
Nowhere.
annual? Is it all exclusive and only sells through a broker? What's your favorite thing to do besides go to school, hang out with friends?
I don't know. Play video games.
What's the video game you like best?
Genshin Impact.
What? What's it called?
Genshin Impact.
Has anyone heard of this?
It's a mobile game.
Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Do you play with other people around the world?
You can.
You can. And is this something that you discovered while here?
No.
Okay, so you play it you always played it? Have you heard about Lucy?
What?
Have you heard about this game, this video game?
Nope.
Lucy's host brother
Yeah,
does.
my husband knows.
Ah. Okay, besides the video games. What's the most exciting things that you've discovered about Geneva so far?
Books.
Books,
I've gotten into some really cool books here.
really?
Yeah.
Through both the school and the library?
The library.
Is that right? Do you spend a lot of time there?
No, but I
No?
read them at home.
No kidding. That's pretty cool. What's your favorite genre of literature? Is it fiction, nonfiction,
Adventure.
adventure? Are you an adventurous person?
I guess so.
You'd have to be. My gosh, you're spending a whole year with us.
A half a year.
Half a year.
I'm here for a semester.
Oh, that's cool. How do you say, I'm only here for a semester in German?
Ich bin nur hier für ein halbes Jahr.
Is that correct? And later in life, what do you want to do as a career?
I'm either gonna go into insurances, or I'm
Insurances?
gonna go, yeah, or I'm gonna be a judge. One of those.
Ins- Insurances or a judge?
Yes.
So you're going to go to law school?
I'm not sure yet. I'm only 15, so I still have a few years to completely decide. But my first plan is insurances, and if that doesn't work out, I'm gonna go to law school. Yeah.
So explain to me what insurances mean. I'm assuming
There's
it
a
means this is-
big insurance company right next to us. It's like one of Germany's biggest insurance companies, and they have a lot of cool things, and they have
cool.
a kind of where you can study and work at the same time,
Ah, okay.
and that's pretty cool because you start to get money the moment you study. So.
Oh, that is cool. So while you're going to school, they pay you.
Yeah, because you also work.
Is university free, is that free in Germany for German residents?
Not normally, but in that kind of university, you basically get paid even for it. So
No kidding.
that would be free.
And then after all that, a judge. How do you become a judge in Germany?
You go to law school. It's pretty long, like 6 years or more.
Wow.
And then if you're good enough, you can become a judge.
And do you, forgive me for not knowing this, do you run for election or are you appointed judge?
I'm not sure.
And you're 15 years old?
Yes.
That's impressive. Wow. So what's your favorite American food?
Mac and cheese.
Is it home-cooked mac and cheese?
I don't care.
Kraft?
Mac and cheese is mac and cheese.
Is that, why? Why, I mean, like not burgers, not like ribs, not
It's the first American food I've ever eaten.
mac and cheese?
Yeah, the first time I was in America, I visited family and they made mac and cheese for me as for the first night.
And ever since, that's it?
Yes.
Mac and cheese.
Yes.
Wow. Who has the best mac and cheese in town?
Town.
In the city? In
Not
Geneva?
sure. I'm not sure. I
not
haven't
sure.
tried all of them yet.
Do you? Yeah, you sure? Yeah? Wow. Yeah, Burger Local does have mac and cheese, that's right. Yeah. Wow. So what else should we know about you? What else do you want to share about yourself? Because obviously we're very impressed with everybody, but go ahead, share with something that perhaps you want to brag about. Are you a soccer fan? Like football?
Yes, but I don't really play it anymore.
But you did.
I did. But then I was little. I'm a language fan. As you can see. I mean, but I did a few languages, yeah.
How many languages do you speak?
German, obviously. English. We started with English very soon, very early.
Very
in
early, very good, yeah.
first grade, you start English, and then 6th grade, you start French or Latin. I did French. And then I did Italian for very short. My Italian is bad, though.
So you and Lucy can have conversations in French?
Please, no.
But if you needed to, you could.
Technically.
Technically, very good. You are a judge. Yeah. Wow, very cool. Council members, the floor is open.
You're home in Germany. What part of the country are you from?
You know Wiesbaden?
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
That's where I'm from.
Good.
very famous Wiesbaden.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last student for the evening is Victoria Gemunsteter. Was that really bad? You might want to repeat it.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
From beautiful Iceland.
Yes.
Are you from Reykjavik?
No.
Are you from a little town?
Well, in Iceland, it's considered pretty big, but here you would say it's small.
What's the name of the town?
Selfoss,
And how many people live in that beautiful community?
a little over 10,000.
Oh, that is a good-sized town.
Yeah.
Wow, and you've lived there your whole life?
Yes.
And you apply to this AFS thing,
What?
and you apply to this program.
Yeah.
You get accepted, and now here you are in Geneva.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's great.
Pretty
Great.
cool?
Yeah. It's big.
Do you think it's big?
Yeah.
Have all of you been to Chicago yet?
I've been once.
Been once?
Yeah.
And a senior?
Yes.
And do you do anything besides going to school? Do you play sports? Do you?
I joined the badminton
Oh, you did?
team.
No
yeah,
kidding.
but it's not the badminton season yet. So.
No, it's not, yeah. That's a tough sport. It's a very tough. Are you practicing yet or no?
No.
No, not even. Do you like to go to all the other events that the high school has to offer?
Yeah, it's so much fun. I love football games.
Do you like the football games?
Yeah.
Again, forgive me for not knowing, is this your first experience with American football?
Yes.
It is. And what are your thoughts on that?
It's confusing.
It is. I know, I played for 8 years. It was terrible in high school. So. What's most confusing about it?
I just don't understand it.
I don't think anybody does, really. I think it's-
No.
What's your favorite sport?
Handball.
Really? And handball is a wildly popular sport in Europe.
Yeah.
You cannot get a ticket to a handball game in Europe.
No.
One of the most difficult things to acquire.
Yeah.
But handball here is not nearly as popular.
No, I have not seen anything related to handball
Yeah,
here.
why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, I've got to ask you,
Okay.
favorite American food?
Favorite American food is the steak here.
The steak.
Yeah, the steak.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Now, you've had steak,
Yeah.
but now you've had the steak.
Yeah. It's like a big difference.
What's the difference?
It's just way better here.
Yeah?
Really. Yeah.
Is that your favorite food, kind of like mac and cheese for our other friend? Is you're a
Yeah.
steak?
Yeah.
Yeah? And where do you like to have steak?
Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not sure that's original stuff, but nevertheless, it's... And what else do you do for fun?
I love shopping.
Do you? Do you find the American shops cool?
Oh, yeah, it's so much fun.
Is there a Zara here?
Yeah,
There is. But didn't Zara start in Europe?
I think so,
I
but
think
I'm
so.
not sure.
I always thought that was the coolest place in the world, and I realized it's just your good old mid-level shop, right?
I don't know. I love Zara.
Yeah, everyone loves Zara.
Yeah, everyone loves Zara.
Everyone loves Zara. What's your favorite fashion trend in America that perhaps does not exist in Iceland?
Fashion trend is, I don't know if it's fashion trend, but the Stanley Cups.
As in hockey?
No, the Stanley Cups is like a metal. Yeah.
Oh, Stanley. I gotta get on more. You know what? Stanley, as in the Stanley Manufacturing Company, and the cups.
Yeah.
Ah.
I
Do
have
we
mine
have any
everywhere.
Stanley Cups here at the city? Are you a coffee drinker?
No.
You're not?
Well, yeah, only if it's from Starbucks though.
I see you're acclimating quite well. Wow. Do you do those fancy drinks or just good old fashioned coffee?
I do fancy drinks.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow. Stanley Cups, that'll go down in history as... Wow. So, you and your friends get together, what do you do?
Shop.
And that's it, just shop and then go home?
Shop and drive around.
Shop, everyone always drives around, right? Are any of you allowed to drive while here?
No.
You're not. Have any of you driven while here?
No.
Officer Parisi in the background there we go. Pretty cool. Are drivers in America just like, woo?
No, they're very careful here.
Have you been to Caneville Road? Really?
They're way more careful here than they are in Iceland.
How old do you have to be to drive a car in Iceland?
You get your learner's permit at 16,
At 16,
and
okay.
you can drive at 17.
Got it. You have to go through class and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you doing for the rest of the week? Anything fun planned? Anything,
For the rest of the week.
well, besides school, you don't have to go to school, do you?
What?
Do you have to actually go to school?
Yeah, I was shocked to hear about that. I'm going to a Halloween party, and I'm going to Oktoberfest too. And I'm doing something else, but I don't remember.
Is the Halloween party a friend's hosting?
It's a AFS thing.
Oh, it is? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Where's it being held?
St. Charles.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
With their AFS students too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So what do you want to share about yourself that is obviously very cool, and you want to share it now on global television?
Oh my God, the pressure. I don't know. Well, I I can speak 5 languages.
Oh, boy. Okay, name the languages you can speak.
Well, Icelandic, English, Norwegian and Swedish. Well, I can't speak Danish, but I can, like, I know the words, but I just can't do the accent.
Ah.
Yeah.
And is that common for you and your peers in Iceland, to speak all those languages?
Yeah.
And later in life, what do you want to do with all your talent?
I don't know, travel?
Travel and shop?
Travel and shop, yeah.
Are you going to be an influencer?
Well, no, I'm not good at that.
Do you do Instagram and all that stuff?
Yeah, but I just don't take pictures of anything.
Yeah. Wow. Councilman, okay, now if you start speaking Icelandic here, I'm gonna,
I would
Any-
be impressed, though.
I know.
Wait. Jag talar lite svenska. Du talar svenska?
Ja, jag snackar lite.
Again?
Ja, jag snackar lite.
Yes.
I think she said you lost your cleats.
From my soccer days. Men jag talar lite svenska.
Ja, det är kul. Det är kul.
Ditto. Yeah, what did you say, Ben?
Just commenting on the mayor.
I bet you were.
I speak a little Swedish, a little bit more every day, so.
Wow. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it Taksimek?
What?
Taksimek? What's that mean? Taksimika?
Tack så mycket.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for picking up on that. Thanks for letting me hang out there like that. That was really nice. Thank you.
Vadå? Tack för det.
Want to get a group photo?
Yes, I should have photo.
Is it okay if we have a group photo with all our new friends? And I have a certificate for each one of you. And the certificate reads, 5 languages, really? That's awesome. Uneasy. Not that I wouldn't be impressed, that was so cool.
Daniel?
That was so cool.
I know, I will slide on over.
Lucy, that's for you. Thank you. You're very welcome. Where's Keenan? Daniel, love the shirt. Love the shirt. Julia. Okay, over here, guys. Scott, can you fix your Yeah. You're welcome to take a photo.
Sorry. Oops, I got Ben's arms in mine.
The mayor's taking everything from me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Can't do steak?
That's good.
Steak or mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah. You know what the mayor makes?
I think we got it.
Whose phone?
Who's?
Everybody get theirs?
You hear what she said? Everyone has full. Now, is it okay if I send out an Instagram and a tweet with your pictures? Is that okay?
And then how do you get out?
That counts it. Don't eat meat. Thank you very much. See you guys around the campus.
Please, there's These are something that some treat. You posted last year, didn't you? So this is all for yes. Your smile on your face makes me realize how much.
Wow. Students, thank you very much. Thanks for honoring us with your presence tonight. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, item 4, amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments this evening? We'll wait till everybody's seated. How's that? Strike that from the record. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're on item 4 of the agenda, which is amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments this evening by any council member? Item 5 is the omnibus agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered to be routine by this council, and those items can be considered and enacted with one motion. Is there such a motion? Alderperson Marks makes the motion.
Second.
Alderperson Bowering makes the second. Clerk Kellick, please take the roll.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor? Aye. Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowering?
Aye.
Bruno?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
The omnibus agenda has been approved by this city council with 8 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 2 absent. Item number 8, municipal bills for payment. We kindly ask our city clerk to read the bills in their aggregate for our consideration.
The bills total $4,809,371.56.
Mayor, I move that we approve the bills as read.
That is called jet lag, ladies and gentlemen. The motion has been made to pay the bills as read, which also
I
included
thought
the-
it was some legally required speech. I just did what Chuck Brown used to do.
That's why it costs us so much. There's a motion to pay the bills as read. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderperson Marks.
The detail is on the website.
And in your packets, yeah. Thanks for joining us tonight, Mike. I know you just flew in, so. Clerk Kellick, whenever you're ready, please take the roll.
Bruno?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor? Aye. Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowering?
Aye.
The bills to be paid have been approved by this council with 8 affirmative votes, 0 nay votes, and 2 absent. We jump to item 10, presentation of ordinances and resolutions. 10A, consider ordinance number 2023-21, amending Title 4, Chapter 2, Liquor Control, Section 13, license fees and number of licenses, adding 1 Class A5 liquor license, limited restaurant specialty package alcoholic liquors for Geneva Ale House, located at 319 West State Street.
So moved.
Bruno and Bowering. City Administrator Dawkins.
Sure. Fairly self-explanatory. So Geneva Ale House has applied for a Class A5 liquor license, and that authorizes the retail sale for consumption off premises only of specialty packaged alcohol or spirits sold by the bottle, wine sold by the bottle or case, and craft beer sold by the pack or case.
Any questions for the City Administrator? If not, Clerk Kellick, please take the roll.
Bruno,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowering.
Aye.
Item 10A has been approved by this council with 8 affirmative votes, 0 nay votes, and 2 absent. Item 10B, consider resolution number 2023-108, authorizing the issuance of a certificate of completion for Fox Valley Commerce Center. Alderperson Bowering makes the motion. Seconded by Alderperson Marks. Ms. Dawkins.
Okay, so this is the certificate of completion for the following public improvements to accommodate the Fox Valley Commerce Center development: electric, earthwork, erosion control, paving, site items, storm sewer system, sanitary sewer system, water main system, and landscaping. With the COC, the corresponding letter of credit supplied by the developer can be reduced to a 15% amount. So that reduced bond amount is $1,088,701.44, and that serves as our 1-year warranty on the completed improvements.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, sensing none, hearing none. Clerk Kellick, please take the roll.
Bowering,
Aye.
Bruno,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
With 8 affirmative votes, 0 nay votes, and 2 members of the council absent, item 10B has been approved by this council. Item 10C is to consider ordinance number 2023-22, amending Title 11 zoning ordinance, Chapter 2, Section 2, definitions of words and terms, Chapter 3, Section 3, accessory building and uses, Article A, off-street parking, Section 2, location, size, and other requirements, and Section 3, design and maintenance of the Geneva City Code. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Alderperson Mayor, seconded by Alderperson Paschke. Ms. Dawkins.
Okay, so in the fall of 2022, the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus invited municipalities to participate in the EV Readiness Program to prepare to meet the growing demand for electric vehicles and electrical vehicle charging infrastructure. The City of Geneva was one of the first cohorts of communities to receive technical assistance and training in a variety of areas. Part of the program requires that communities develop clear permitting for electric vehicle charging infrastructure and to analyze zoning and parking codes to address barriers to electrical vehicle infrastructure. Our current zoning ordinance is silent on electric vehicle charging stations. However, it has been interpreted and permitted as an accessory use both for residential and commercial properties. So amendments to the zoning ordinance require Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing and recommendation to the City Council. At its meeting on September 28th, the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the text amendments as presented that were in the packet online this evening. With us this evening also, if you have additional questions, is Director DeGroot, our Director of Community Development.
Questions on the dais for Director DeGroot? There were a number of questions in correspondence earlier today. Alderperson Bowering, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I am still playing catch-up with some of these meetings, so I apologize if this is redundant or was gone over at the Planning and Zoning meeting. So I had some other questions about why we're designating it as similar to gasoline, because it seems pretty different, and I understand that we the city would like to retain some oversight. I guess I'm curious to hear more about what the potential negative consequences are that we anticipate from EV charging stations or that like we see from parking. I have a few more questions, but I'll start there.
Sure. So in the definition, when we say we consider it the same as a gasoline station for zoning purposes, we're talking about whether we consider it as a permitted or a special use. So what we're recommending is that we consider it as a special use, so we have some oversight, and it's not just allowed by right in all the commercial districts. Some of the potential negative impacts, I mean, with auto-oriented uses, we require a special use for parking lots now, with or without charging stations, gas stations, car washes, things of that nature. So some of those impacts we see are like lighting, just
Okay.
traffic volume. Depending on where it's located, it might not be the highest and best use for that commercial property. It might
Okay.
be a prime retail spot that we don't want to surrender to a parking lot.
Okay, and so I guess, I think somebody else also asked questions about, like, as comparing it to parking, it makes more sense to designate it as like a gasoline fueling station as opposed to like parking, because that gives us more oversight or seems somehow more closely aligned to its use? Or like, would we get the
So-
same end result of having it as a special use if we called it parking as opposed to zoning it as gasoline fueling?
I think we get a very similar result. I would have to verify exactly, like district by district.
Okay, and then, go ahead.
Sorry, but gasoline stations require a special use permit in all the commercial districts except for the B4 district,
Okay,
which is a small segment along East State Street.
but regardless, parking requires special use anyway.
Right, as a primary use.
As a
right,
primary use,
yeah.
okay, and then, are we not allowed, because we're non-home rule and it's not spelled out in state statute, to come up with a new zoning thing so that we call it what it is, which is EV parking, or EV charging, excuse me?
We can, I mean, we didn't really find any examples of electric vehicle charging stations as a primary retail use. We are the first cohort of communities trying to come up with these definitions and tailor our zoning ordinances. So this was our first step to make sure that it's explicitly clear in our ordinance that they are allowed as an accessory use, that they are allowed as maybe a special use in some zoning districts if it's the primary use. I mean, I think we can refine that as time goes on and we see the need more and understand more clearly what it might look like as a primary use.
Okay, my perspective, and I'd love to hear from the rest of my colleagues, I'd rather be more precise than less precise. I want to give us the oversight. I guess maybe this is based more on emotion than logic, but it rubs me a little bit the wrong way to classify it as a gasoline fueling station just because it's not, and that seems like such a extremely different use. So I would be open to the idea of classifying it as parking or exploring whether we could just come up with a designation that allowed us to allow it as a special use classified as an EV charging station. I don't want to create undue administrative hurdles. I understand wanting to get something on the books, so so those are things I would be interested to see explored. Thank you.
If I can respond to that, to classify it as a parking lot, as a primary use would probably be simpler at this stage. To start listing it as electric vehicle charging stations as a primary use, we'd have to go back and amend several different sections of the ordinance, which were not advertised in the original public hearing.
I see, okay.
So I think at this stage, if we were going to make a change, I would recommend going to just defining it as a parking lot as a primary use.
Okay. I'd be interested in that. I'm persuadable on this if that's not the will of the council, but I guess, yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there for now.
Alderperson Mayor.
Would it still be a special use if it was in an I-1 district?
I believe so. I think parking lots as a primary use is a special use in most of the zoning districts.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Alderperson Kilberg.
As certain businesses add additional charging stations, how does that impact the the parking stall requirements, let's say, for instance, of a motel. In other words, if you start, as EV becomes more and more popular and businesses decide to dedicate more stalls to EV, does that impact then what the city's requirements are as far as parking stalls?
The way it's drafted, it does not. So an EV charging station would count towards your minimum parking requirements.
So in other words, those slots are considered parking stalls?
Right, correct. We had some discussion with the Plan Commission about that, and we thought it was kind of self-policing at this stage, that businesses aren't going to overpark EV vehicles and jeopardize losing customers that don't own EVs.
That makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else from the dais who has not yet spoken? Wish to do so? Alderperson Patchke?
I tend to agree with Alderperson Bowering that it may be an emotional reaction, but at this point, with things being what they are in our world, I think it makes more sense to zone it as parking. Just the insinuations of gasoline fueling is something very counter to what an electric vehicle is. And I think, you know, as a demonstration of us as a city valuing the environment, it makes sense to do something a little bit different in the zoning of this and hopefully make those changes you said we could look at in the future as well.
Anyone else? The chair would interpret the comments made by Alderperson Patchke as a snap to the kicker for a amendment.
I was going to propose amending this, as long as that's in accordance with what was advertised at the public hearing, to change the wording from, in the necessary portions, from gasoline fueling station to parking.
Seconded by Alderperson Mayor. On the floor now is this discussion regarding that amendment. Anyone regarding the amendment in particular?
Wanted to confirm that it
Yes.
is listed as a special use in the industrial districts.
Okay. Alderperson Bruno?
Did I miss something? So by making that textual change that wasn't clear, it seems like you weren't sure whether everything that was advertised for the public hearing, we could do that.
With the amendment that was proposed, it's amending the definition that was advertised. So I think we're safe with the amendment as it's proposed.
Okay, and you don't see any detrimental effect as to what we're trying to do here?
I don't. Parking lots as a principal use are a special use in the zoning district, so I think it's consistent with the intent.
Thank you.
Alderperson Marks?
I know, probably catching you off guard with this question, but sorry. But you start to see some of these EV stations show up in gas stations. Is this change going to cause us, because they're not parking lots sometimes, or are we just doing away with those?
So an EV charging station as an accessory use is permitted. That's the way we've been interpreting it. We have a handful in town.
Right.
It's when it becomes the principal use, the only use of the site, that we were suggesting it should become a special use.
So if you're a gas station right now, you wouldn't have to come for a special permit if you have 2 or 3 of these EV
Right.
stations there. Okay, that's all. And this change won't make any problems with that, correct?
Correct.
As long as it's not the main business of that business, EV stations, you were
Right.
fine. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderperson Mayor?
So, long-term, if the gasoline fueling station completely turned over and its primary use was in EV charging, would that change of use require anything of that property owner from a site perspective? Would it trigger any environmental law for them to have to clean up the site and not just?
I don't know that the change of use would trigger that requirement.
Yeah.
To like remove tanks.
Right.
No.
I mean, it just, like, we could definitely transition that way easily, but if in doing this change tonight, we then triggered them to have to, do the full cleanup to change over to EV charging. That would be unfortunate.
No, I mean, there's nothing that would trigger them to do cleanup. Might trigger them to get a special use permit now. But, yeah.
Okay.
Effective January 1st, Illinois law takes effect that requires all multifamily housing to be, quote, EV ready.
Right.
That is just the conduit to feed these spaces and places. It doesn't require that EV charging has to be installed,
Right,
just the conduit.
correct.
So there's no impact with respect to changing that definition from parking from,
No, because that would be not the primary use.
Exactly, not
It would
the
be an
primary use.
accessory use. It also applies to single-family homes, I think, in April.
in April, right? Okay, anyone else on the amendment? We're going to vote on the amendment, ladies and gentlemen, simple majority rules. On the amendment, which is to change the language as described so eloquently by Alderperson Bowering and second, I believe, by Alderperson Patchke. Mayor, excuse me. The clerk will take the roll.
Bowering. Aye. Bruno.
Aye.
Hilberg.
Aye.
Maladra. Marks.
Aye.
Mayor. Aye. Paschke.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
With 8 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 2 absent, the amendment has been approved to the main motion as amended. Any other discussion regarding the main motion? The clerk will take the roll.
Mayor. Aye. Paschke.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Bowering.
Aye.
Bruno.
Aye.
Hilberg.
Aye.
Maladra.
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
With 8 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 2 absent, ordinance number 2023-22 has been approved by this council. Item 10D, consider resolution number 2023-109, rejecting bids opened October 2nd, 2023 for the Old Kirk Road Electric Distribution General Construction Project. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Mayor makes the motion. Bowering makes the second. Ms. Dawkins, the floor is yours.
Okay, as stated, bids were opened on October 2nd. One bid was received, and after reviewing the bid, it was found to have an excessive number of technical exceptions. Taken together, these exceptions to the bid would have significantly increased the price of the contract above the bid price. So staff is looking to rebid the contract in anticipation of receiving a better response and a more inclusive bid price. And if you have questions, we do have Superintendent Holton with us this evening.
Questions from the council for the superintendent? The clerk will take the roll.
Mayor.
Aye.
Paschke.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Bowering.
Aye.
Bruno.
Aye.
Hilberg.
Aye.
Maladra.
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
With 8 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 2 absent, this council has rejected the bids opened October 2nd, 2023, as stated in resolution number 2023-109. Item 10E, consider ordinance number 2023-23, restating Title IX Municipal Utilities, Chapter 2, Article B, Section 13, Net Metering Policy of the Geneva City Code. Is there a motion? Marks makes the motion. Seconded by Bowering. Dawkins for the preamble.
Okay, so for review and consideration are the recommended changes to the net metering policy per direction that has been given by the Committee of the Whole. Current connected residential and general service customer-owned PV generating systems will be credited for excess generation at the applicable retail rate until such time that that total capacity of PV interconnected generation on Geneva system exceeds 2,000 kilowatt. And then after that threshold is met, any new system will be credited at the avoided cost for excess generation. Systems connected prior to the threshold being met will remain on the current credit rate policy until 10 years after the initial interconnection date. Again, there were numerous questions and answers, knowing that it's kind of not an easy thing to describe in writing, so we still have with us Superintendent Holton if there are additional questions regarding this item.
Questions from the dais for the superintendent?
Sure.
Alderperson Mayor.
I didn't follow how the calculation for some of the total cost that you were showing. I follow how you get the 35,000 as the starting point for
Okay.
How are you calculating that 165,000 that's added?
That is our estimate of the excess energy that would be pushed back to the system based on the 250 interconnected systems. And that in itself is based on the average total received kilowatt hours from the 30-some odd customers we have now.
Okay, so you're taking that, you're averaging it, and then you're multiplying it by the 250.
Right.
And
That gives
it's
us-
the whole amount of the power that gets fed back on and not utilized by the homeowner that you're considering waste, right? Or not?
I wouldn't consider it waste.
Well-
It's generation above and beyond whatever their load is at that time.
But it seemed like it's a cost that's not being offset by any other measure in the way that it was summarized in the.
Right, so it's similar to how we treat cogeneration currently,
Okay.
like at Settlers Hill. They generate, they use what little now is used by the facility, then the excess comes back to us and we pay for it. That installation originally fed the waste management offices. So that energy actually went to the waste management offices first, and then we got the excess. So it's kind of the same idea. So we're purchasing that power back, specifically so it doesn't go to waste.
So it's not an additional cost then in total, or it is?
It is an additional cost, because currently we're not buying that excess energy.
You wouldn't have to buy that?
We wouldn't have to buy it.
Okay. So we're under our base load during the hours in which we would use the solar load, is that?
Most likely, the solar is during the day, usually in the afternoon, is the peak output. And, we have our current layered purchase power contracts that basically take care of that amount. So where we would probably see a difference eventually, if we get enough installations, would be on the PJM, on the marketplace side, where we're not receiving that volume of energy through the market
Right.
at that time.
We're not having to go out and get that energy, so
Right.
then it offsets at that price that we would have had to pay.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So it's not a total loss, that part?
No.
It can't be considered
No.
a negative to
Right.
the concept. It should just be somewhat weighed into it.
Right. And,
But as
and
comparatively.
even when we move to the avoided cost,
Yeah,
there's still going to be that purchase power cost. It's just going to be at a different rate than what we're initially going to offer.
okay. So as a comparison between 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 kilowatt hours, it's level. It's just maybe not like the true difference between having these customers on solar and not.
Yes, I think I understand your point.
I think I'm following now, so.
Okay. So it's taken as a whole, it's just another generator we're buying power from. I mean, if you want to look at it that way also.
Right. It's a network of
Right.
generators
Right.
that we're paying, and we're paying what we would charge instead of paying what we would pay on the market, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's crystal clear now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderperson Swanson, then Alderperson Patchke.
Thank you. I wanted to continue down that line of reasoning because it seems to me that if we weren't buying this energy from the solar customers, we still would be having to buy it somewhere. So it isn't a true additional cost of energy that the solar customers have imposed upon the utility?
I think the answer to that is yes and no. Yes, in the fact that it's replacing energy we would normally purchase somewhere else. No, in the fact that we're paying the retail rate back to the solar customers, and that's significantly more money than we would normally pay either on the market or with one of our power contracts. So, you know, that's where we want to, at some point, we want to have that cutoff where we go to avoided cost, which more closely aligns to what we would be paying on the market for that energy.
Okay, and I understand, it just seems like there maybe should be another column in this schedule, because we have the fixed cost deficit, I understand that, we have the cost of energy, I understand that, but there also is a benefit that the utility is getting by having this energy that we're not purchasing elsewhere.
Right, and I understand that. Probably where that would come out would be at the end of the year when we do our total of our purchased energy. At the end of the year, now we'll have an extra column there that will be for residential or small commercial residential PV energy purchases in kilowatt hours, and that will actually work towards our goal of procuring more green energy.
Sure. In my understanding of our energy portfolio, we have Prairie State obviously providing the base, but we also have additional providers that are providing peak energy
Right.
that we need during, as this threshold, as we get more solar installations, would that not impact those additional contracts that we have to enter into as we have more experience and we know how much power we're getting?
It could. I think as we get farther along, we get more than just some 30-odd installations.
Okay.
We'll be able to take that into consideration when we go look for more power contracts in the future.
Which would add to the column that's missing here.
Right.
As to, there would be more benefit as we
Right.
get better and better.
Right.
Okay. So the numbers we have here are absolutely worst case, assuming that we're not offsetting any of this additional power. We're buying this power that we don't need, and that's worst case.
Yes.
So it's not really accurate.
It's the worst case accurate, I guess.
Okay.
And it's hard to bake those numbers in. I mean, really, we tend to look at worst case because that's the most conservative path. Typically, we don't get in trouble doing that when it comes to reliability and whatnot. So that's how we looked at this.
Okay. And I guess, as I look at this, the fixed cost deficits from a 2,000 kilowatt cutoff to, say, a 4,000 kilowatt is not a huge number compared to the total fixed costs that we're looking to cover for the entire utility, which I believe is 4 million something.
Right.
So we're looking at 2,000, that's $34,000, which we approve on a regular basis just from a cost overrun. Or the bids came in at 1.5 million instead of 1.4. So the number is very small from the fixed cost standpoint.
Initially, we want to avoid a situation where we have a large number of customers. And then now suddenly we're
Sure,
upside down.
but that 2,000 threshold is actually cutting it off at that 34,000. So whether or not it's initial or not,
And actually
that's
that,
the number.
regardless of how we reimburse the customers for the excess generation, that deficit will just grow with the number of installations. So at some point in the future, that'll start affecting rate cases and whatnot.
If you didn't have a threshold.
Even with the threshold. The threshold is, what we want to do with the threshold is not stop installations. That's not, we're not allowed to do that by state law, and that's not what we want to do. We want as many people as they would like to have solar on the roof. We want to, at some point, the incentive isn't needed there for the inertia of it, for lack of a better term. And so we can move back to that avoided cost, and that brings that purchase cost more in line with what we do day to day.
And I completely understand that. Okay. I guess we're talking about the same thing. I guess I don't want to disincentivize adding solar installations so early. We have a very small market penetration. We have 8,600 customers.
Right.
Residential, and we have 32 solar installations. So we're looking at capping it at 250. I would prefer to see a 4,000 cap. So say 500 customers could move in. The impact on fixed costs that are not being funded according to this scenario would move from 34,000 to potentially 67,000. That's not a monumental number, and we're trying to live, we're saying we want to still incentivize. We're improving the return for people to spend this money. So I would like to see that threshold perhaps doubled. I'd like to hear what other alderpersons have to say about that. I think the impact on fixed costs is minimal, and we're still incentivizing people to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderperson Patchke, then Bowering.
Thank you. So I have the same questions, I think, similar questions about the cost of received energy. So thank you for clearing that up somewhat. I would love to see how much of a change that makes in that total cost, because I think presenting it this way, could look alarming when it's missing that piece, that value of the energy that's generated, that's extra, that our neighbors are using and they're paying for. So I think it would be nice to be able to see that. I know that we can't keep this going forever. I think our priorities that we've discussed several times now are switching the billing over, because we know that that's, a big burden on our finance department. I agree that we need to do that as soon as possible. Continuing to incentivize the adoption of solar, because that's a value that's been stated by this body many times. And I agree, I do think that setting the threshold at 2,000 feels maybe a little too safe in the current environment. I happen to know that Batavia is reconsidering their stance on this. They might be reversing their previous decision. People are seeing the need to do more to, change the effects of climate change as much as we can. I think, especially looking at the little kids here this evening who drew all those pictures of trees, I think we owe it to future generations to take a smaller risk in incentivizing solar for the future. I think there are a lot of what ifs as well. We know electric vehicle purchases are dramatically increasing. They're only going to increase more. If I buy an electric vehicle, that's a lot more electricity on our solar panel. We probably won't be generating much extra anymore. We know, there's industrial development on the horizon. There's a lot that's going to change in the coming years. So whether we settle on the 2,000 or, take a bold step and move it up to 4,000, either way, I hope that we revisit this in the near future to make sure that the electric utility is sound and that we're doing as much as we can for the future and for our environment. So I think that's where I stand. Thank you.
Alderperson Bowering, then Maladra.
I will endeavor not to be redundant, but I think as has been expressed, my understanding is that when we're looking at the cost to the utility, and these are projected costs, and I know we're dealing with lots of uncertainty, that what we're really looking at with the total cost, so when we're looking at the combination of fixed cost deficit and the cost of the energy, that the cost of the energy really should be then the difference between wholesale and retail, unless we're already at the point, and I understand you're trying to project into the future, but does this mean that you're saying that if we got to 250 customers, you think we would not be able to adjust our portfolio in order to not actually be purchasing so much excess power? Because otherwise, it seems to me, the column that I think we're all talking about, and I just want to clarify because this is how my brain talks about it, is the difference in cost between wholesale and retail, right? Because we're doing net metering and we're purchasing the power back, which is then purchased, as I understand it, by neighboring houses, used by neighboring houses who are paying also the retail cost. It's a wash, except we're not making any fixed cost back on that energy that is consumed because, you know, we're not reimbursing the excess at a wholesale rate, we're reimbursing it as a retail rate. Is that correct? So I asked several questions, I'm sorry.
I think you have it backwards.
Okay.
So, you know, the analogy of the electric system is it's a gigantic bucket of water, right? So you put a drop in here and you take a drop out here. It's not necessarily the same drop, but it's an in and out, right? And essentially what we're doing is we're adding another drop to our bucket, and we're taking it out at your neighbor's house. This energy that we're going to purchase is going to be in addition to what we already purchase. I can see the viewpoint of, well, there should be a difference between what we buy it off the market at and the retail rate. I understand you can look at it from that perspective. You could make the same case that, in fact, we do. In our market activities, we look at the difference between, okay, we bought the power at this price, but this is what it was delivered to us at, and there can be either a profit or a loss with that.
Could you explain that? Sorry, I don't follow.
So-
We buy it at a price, but then by the time it's delivered to us, the
Right,
price has changed?
because all of our energy comes to us through the PJM marketplace, except for what we generate here within the city. So the Settlers Hill, these type of PV installations, GGF, okay? So we get charged for every kilowatt hour that comes to us from PJM is basically in a kilowatt hour charge. So we have market activities, so we have fixed contracts for a large majority of our power. And the people that we contract with that do our market activities actually compare, okay, this is what you're contracted with. You know, this is what you're paying NextEra, this is what you're paying NIMPA for your energy, and this is what PJM charged you when you took it off the grid. And there's a price delta there between those two. And we can either make money on that transaction, or it can cost us money. It just depends on what the market forces are at the time. And what you're asking, and both Alderpersons Paschke and Swanson asked the same thing, is you want to see that number for the PV. What's the difference between what our energy was off the market and what we paid the PV customers? So instead of seeing this overall report that's the entire system, you would like to see it just for the PV customers. Is that?
Well, I guess the point I'm getting at, and I think I'm more or less stating what Alderperson Paschke and Swanson just said, but I wanted to just clarify that my understanding was correct, and now I'm honestly less sure. And I understand it is
sorry,
that's okay. That's okay. That's why we're here. I understand it is a complicated system, but I believe that when we were starting this conversation, the original proposal was in an avoided cost model to be reimbursing solar customers at the wholesale rate, what we typically pay for power, as opposed to the retail rate, right, which includes our fixed costs added onto that. Is that correct?
Well, no, the retail rate has, the fixed costs are built in the retail rate, but the retail rate also has other parts and pieces built into it. So we have the money we need to collect to meet our margins, to meet our operating expenses, and so on and so forth.
Sorry, those are not part of the fixed costs? What is the difference
Right.
between the operating costs and the fixed costs?
So your fixed costs are just what it would cost to run the utility with no energy production. So that's your like your billing activities, your labor rates, probably depreciation, that sort of thing. Those are your fixed costs. And then we have our operating costs, so, you know, the cost of fuel around the trucks, for the projects that we do, for the maintenance, all the different line items in the budget for the most part. And you add all that up and you get our retail rate.
Okay, so I think that has not been clear to me in our whole discussion about
Okay.
all of this. So I'm glad for that to be clear now. I'm sorry that wasn't made clear earlier, because I think that there's unnecessary confusion there. But so then I guess, I mean, my concern is that in showing the cost of $167,000 or whatever it is per year, that, so it sounds like the way I'm characterizing it is not comfortable for you, particularly in being conservative, because it's only looking at some of the fixed costs, but the operational and the fixed costs are part of what you are trying to make up for in the difference between the wholesale rate of power and the retail rate that we're charging when it goes out to customers. You know, there's the base rate, and then there's the rate per kilowatt hour, and all of that in total is designed to, you know, keep everything running, keep things solvent, and that means paying for the power we purchase, paying for the fixed cost of the system, and paying for the operating costs. So does it make sense maybe to think about those as, are those the three categories?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess then the thing that I think does seem like it's missing, and I perhaps am not quite expert enough to come up with the right way to characterize it, is whatever the difference is, because I think there is still a difference if we are using the power and we project that even at 250 customers we would be able to use the power, then I think, as even Alderperson Mayer said, it's not a loss. And the way it's being presented and what we got in the packet, that looks like a complete loss. And I think that feels inaccurate. So maybe I'm still really missing a big part of the picture.
No, I understand that, and that's a valid point, and maybe it's been mischaracterized as a loss. It's more of an expense, more than an actual loss to the utility.
Okay.
It's just going to be, it's more on the, it's not more on, it is on the expense side of the ledger.
Fair enough. So I think that is useful in kind of maybe reconfiguring it for me, at least in kind of accounting terms. I was perceiving that the way this was presented, given that the 2,000 threshold was what had been picked, that it was being perceived as a loss, given the way they were combined. So I think if it's a cost, again, as has been stated, I think I would be interested in hearing from you your thoughts about raising the threshold to 4,000 kilowatt hours. I think there are a lot of unknowns. I would be willing, if something came up before that, to like re-examine it again. But I'd rather not set something arbitrarily low or just arbitrarily throwing something at the wall, given that I think that there is a lot of growth in this area. I'm sympathetic to there being a lot of unknowns and wanting to take a conservative approach, but I think that part of being proactive in this area and encouraging adoption, particularly considering that, like, since we are our own utility, I think as has been discussed, there are some additional hurdles for customers who want to add solar. It's not quite as streamlined as it might be if you were a PG&E customer. And I'll note also that, we're looking at the possibility of trying to generate municipal solar. So I guess, what that might look like. So to me, the idea of cutting it off so low while we're also trying to figure out how we can be responsible on this issue at the city level, to me that doesn't fit. So if there's a compelling reason that 250 or 2,000, however, kilowatt hours seems very necessary, I'd like to hear it. In what we got, I didn't see that case, and again, I think there were areas where it was, there's some translation issues, one might say, that I think we should work on in the future. But anyway, so I'd be interested in a higher threshold as well, but I do want to hear if you have serious reservations to that, what they are. Thank you.
I don't. My goal is just to have some sort of threshold that we can plan for. So if the council decides on 4,000 kilowatts installed, we can do that. And I also agree we can look at it, because it would be great if we had a bigger data pool than just 32 or 33, with, a few more coming on here later on this year. So I don't have any large reservations for moving up.
Alderperson Maladra.
So your last statement just throws what I was about to say for a loop. So what I was about to say is we started with, I'm confused. I am more confused now. At least where we started, we had your analysis. Somehow we got from your analysis to a different threshold of 4,000. So I agree with the statement that I would like to see some analysis behind that 4,000. We talk about arbitrariness. I think that the search for a higher number is arbitrary. We want a higher number. Why? The way I understand it, there's a gap. That gap grows every time we add a solar customer. So somehow we have to wrestle with that gap. And the way you've proposed to wrestle with that gap, I thought, was to set the threshold at 2,000. But now I hear you don't really care, so maybe I don't care either. I'm getting confused about this. And I am more interested in being conservative now, because we have been beating this for at least 3 meetings with how many solar customers?
32.
32. We want to incentivize more. I can't imagine how hard it's going to be to adjust later on if we have to go up. We're just going to say, oh, well, you know, we were kidding. We were throwing arbitrary numbers around before, and we got them wrong, so now we're going to raise it. It's going to be even more painful to go up later than it will be to be conservative today, in my opinion, well, because the number of people involved is fewer now than it will be later. So we're trying to provide incentive to get people online under one understanding of a deal that we understand we might change in the future because we don't really follow the analysis or something along those lines. So I thought I understood the analysis. There's a gap. The gap grows as we add users. A threshold to try to manage that gap is 2,000, and I didn't believe it was an arbitrarily finger in the wind type of threshold. I think there's some good math behind it. So I'd like to see that same math applied to the 4,000. And if it works, it works. That's great. But I feel like we're throwing 4,000 around with as much science as we threw anything else around, and that's not good. And now I probably confused everybody. I turned my microphone off.
Alderperson Bruno.
Thank you, Mayor. Thinking back to the conversations, I'm pretty sure it was a fairly arbitrary number that we put out there, and I think going 4,000 feels pretty arbitrary to me too. I'm not sold on your argument that it's going to be that much more difficult to change it later. We still got room to grow under that threshold that we can raise. I'm not really seeing a flaw in starting out at 2,000. Certainly, I want to incentivize as many as possible, but I'm not seeing approving as presented as any type of hindrance to us growing and adapting. That's it. Thanks.
Alderperson Mayor for a second time, unless someone who has not yet, Alderperson Kilberg.
Just a very simple question. Is 4,000 more financially beneficial to our current solar customers than it would be at 2,000?
It would delay the adjustment to the avoided cost for the excessive, or for the excess solar produced, the received solar that we would pay for. It would delay that, but you know, at the pace of adoption, unless something changes significantly, it's going to take us a number of years to get to that 250. So I don't know.
Currently, I'm saying currently. In other words, if we would enact 4,000 versus 2,000,
right,
what would the immediate impact be?
I don't think there would be any impact.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Alderperson Mayor. Microphone, please.
Okay, I am also more confused than I started it, or after our first conversation. I think that it was 1% of our total use is what 2,000 represented, right? That was how you
Yeah.
came up with your arbitrary number?
Roughly, that's where we started.
Yeah.
And then as we looked at more and more, it got bigger and bigger, so we said, let's,
And is it
Stay here.
either or 250 customers or 2,000 kilowatt hours?
the
Is it kilowatt
installation,
hours or
the
kilowatts?
250 customers based on the average size of the installed system that we
Mm-hmm.
currently have on our,
Okay.
which comes out to, I think, 8 kW, so, it's 250.
Okay.
So the limit is the installed kilowatt capacity of all the solar for residential and.
So it's not just 250 customers?
It's not just 250. It could be
It's
more than that, it could be
probably
less
going to
than
be
that.
more than that, because one would assume that well, I guess.
We don't typically see installations over 10 kW. It takes a pretty big house and one situated just right to get above that. So we typically see 10 kW is usually the limit of what we see. There's some larger systems, but they're more the exception than the rule.
I'm pretty indifferent on 2,000 or 4,000. I would vote either way on this. It doesn't make, I don't think it makes a huge difference in the cost to the utility. So, that is my point of view on this, if anybody wanted to make a motion.
Alderperson
I
Weiss.
guess I'm more in Alderperson's Maladra's camp, where 2,000 feels right as we're starting out. I just think we have to see how this goes. I mean, we don't expect any large customers to come in and start to do that, like Delano or the school district. I mean, that would throw this whole calculation, I would think, off if they started.
Well,
to
we
do it.
handle those installations differently.
Okay.
We treat them as a purchase power contract, that
Okay.
actually we're buying the excess. We are going to say, yes, we are going to buy that excess energy at this rate, and we negotiate that.
Okay, so those are kind of do we have that in the ordinance, that a larger installation is going to, at what point do we say, okay, we're gonna buy and set a contract with you? I don't think I saw that.
Anything above 25 kW
Okay,
is
so I
handled on a
missed that.
case-by-case basis.
Okay, so that's how we did it,
Right.
by a case, because that would take care of the larger
Right,
installations.
right.
Okay, yeah, I think we just start out with the 2,000 KW and see how it goes. I mean, we can see these numbers in the graphs that people want at the end of a year, and then look back at this. I mean, I would rather see it that way, where we have more solid information in front of us, than just start moving it up at this point. After 1 year, next December or January, we can take a look at this again and see how we're really doing. Because you said it's going to be easier to base on a year than on a month by month, which I can understand, because we'll have a whole period behind us after a full year.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Alderperson Swanson.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out, and Alderperson Bowering mentioned it as well, in the next meeting, we're looking to create solar from the utility standpoint, which kind of pokes a hole a little bit in your argument about the cost of energy, because if we don't need any more energy, then why are we doing that? So in my mind, this, by incentivizing people to do this, we're creating more solar at no cost to the city, as opposed to the next conversation will be a solar array from the utility standpoint. So I disagree that we can establish a 2,000 cutoff and then evaluate it and make it 4,000. I think that'll be just as brutally hard to do in the future. And I think at this point, with such a low market penetration, I don't see why we want to create this artificial limit. 1% of our total portfolio represents the 2,000. My proposal, and I'd like to make a motion to change that to 4,000, and at least put us all on record to vote on that, is 2%. And that's not monumental. It's taking the fixed cost deficit from 33,500 to 67,200. Those are not monumental dollars when in fact we're talking about $140,000 to a consultant just to come up with where we can put a solar array. So I would like to make that proposal. Hopefully someone will second that and we could.
Amendments offered by Alderperson Swanson to, in layman's terms, adjust the 2%.
The 2,000 kilowatt
2,000 kilowatts to
threshold
4,000, so
to
1% to 2%. Seconded by Alderperson Bowering. On the amendment, discussion?
I guess
Yes.
I don't want to belabor this. I would say, I feel like from my perspective, as we go forward, maybe this isn't even the right time to talk about that. I will take that back for now. I also feel like, I don't think I follow Alderperson Maladra's contention that if we set it at 4,000, it would be harder to change it. I don't know. We are making projections. We are dealing with many unknowns. I think given the data that we have right now about the projected potential costs, even if, for example, they were the worst case scenario of that further column, I don't remember what it was for 4,000 kilowatt hours, and my thing blanked out, so I'm sorry, I can't come up with that number right now. Even if it was $334,000 odd dollars, I think that's still a pretty small amount, and I don't accept that number, I think there's other factors, and I feel like that's one of the things that's really challenging for me right now. So I guess I'm just gonna say, one of the things that's challenging for me right now is I feel like it's very hard for me to evaluate all of this analysis because I couldn't see all of the work behind it. And I think some of that's been clarified tonight, which is great in terms of understanding there's fixed costs, there's operating costs, et cetera. But that wasn't in here, so I didn't have that information to evaluate. I think given what we see here, what does seem to me to be the most compelling cost is a fixed cost. And I think as Alderperson Swanson laid out, that's not a huge increase. Even in the worst case scenario, I think it's absorbable. And I think, to me, that's the point of incentivizing it, is we are saying this is something the city stands for. And also, I would point out there are all sorts of externalized costs to generating all of our energy through fossil fuel burning that we are paying collectively as a society that we have not figured out a way to internalize and look at. And so that's hard, because then it's comparing apples and oranges. But I would contend that there is a cost to not incentivizing it further. It's just very hard to monetize at this point, and a lot of it's going to happen to people that aren't us. That being said, that's part of why it's very important to me that we do the most we can do. And I think right now, what I understand from you is that 4,000 kilowatt hours is okay. What you need is some clear direction for planning, because so much of our energy management really is about knowing what we're likely to be working with and knowing how then to deal with the marketplace to our best advantage, which very clearly the department is very, very good at, given our history. So that's my perspective on this. I'm sorry that I rambled a little bit off topic. Obviously, it's something I feel pretty strongly about, so I guess I would put out there that if our expert does not feel that there's a problem with 4,000, I don't know why we're objecting to that. Thank you.
Anyone else on the amendment? Alderperson Maladra.
I agree with that last question. That's why I started by saying I think you just hosed my argument. But my argument goes like this. Why do I think it'll be difficult to change in the future? Because it's been difficult to do this. I think the evidence is right there in front of us. This is hard, and I don't see it getting easier. The second thing is we're proposing a number based on what? The impact being small, et cetera, I get that, but what's the rationale behind it? Because it makes us feel better? There's a packet full of rationale behind the 2,000, or so I thought, maybe not. But we're shifting and we're adjusting. I don't know what we gain from it. I don't see where the disincentive is. I see that we're groping for a feel-good number, and we've been groping for 3 meetings. And so what I'm left with, I think, is your statement. If you don't mind, I can't really think of a reason to object unless you give me numbers showing how that digs us into a deeper hole than we're trying to, or how that creates the problem that we're trying to avoid. So. That's it.
Well, we did provide the fixed cost deficit and the cost of purchasing the energy at different levels in the packet. We could put more analysis behind that, but it's kind of all built off the same model as we move up. Okay.
Craig, your microphone, just so you know.
Yes, and I understood all of that, but then that gets shot to hell in a handbasket when you go, I don't care, if you want 4,000, it can be 4,000.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to say I don't care.
That's what he said. Sorry.
If I misspoke, I apologize. So, like I said earlier, we were looking at the most conservative approach. You know, the 2,000 to us seemed like gave us enough headroom to get, you know, upwards of 250 some odd customer-owned PV systems, and then, you know, we shifted to this avoided cost model and just kept moving forward. So that was the reasoning behind the 2,000.
On the amendment, anyone else from the dais? On the amendment, ladies and gentlemen? Everyone clear on the amendment? The clerk will take the roll when excuse me, prior to voting. Forgive me, folks, I had a note here to turn this over to the city attorney prior to a vote, so forgive me.
So last time I was here, I think it was the committee of the whole meeting, Alderman Kilberg had asked about a conflict of interest. And so I thought, and I researched that issue, and I thought it was important to just make sure we were all on the same page about that. So there is a conflict of interest, actually two conflicts of interest statutes that can apply, and they deal with, for our purposes, it would deal with whether or not somebody has a direct or an indirect interest in a contract. And looking through the case law, the question of what is an indirect interest, it's not exactly clear, but the case law in my view, is that in this context, this does not arise to the type of pecuniary interest that somebody would need to have, given the role that you all are playing, because effectively, all of you have an interest in how this gets resolved, one way or the other. And so there's sort of two theories. One, I don't think, reading on the statute itself, that it rises to the type of prohibited interest in a contract that I would say you can't do it, number one. And number two is that even if there was a prohibition, by that logic, all of you would be precluded from voting on it. And so there's a rule called necessity. And if we look and there's nobody else left to make the decision, congratulations, you all get to make the decision. So I think in that context, and given what we're trying to do, it's appropriate. I would say this, though. I think from a matter of transparency, and I said this to Alderman Paschke early before the meeting, I think it's very important for everyone to sort of say if they have a specific interest. And then, as I said last time too, that was a case of being lucky rather than good. I think you have to be able to look at it and decide, are you able to put yourself, despite what your personal interests are, can you put those aside, and based on, can you put yourself in a position to make a decision about what is in the best interest of the public utility and what is in the best interest of the citizens? And to the extent that you're able to do that, in my view, my opinion, there is not a conflict of interest that would preclude somebody from voting on this under those circumstances.
Questions for the city attorney? Any clarifying remarks needed? The clerk will take the roll when the clerk is available to do so. On the amendment, ladies and gentlemen.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowering,
Aye.
Bruno,
Nay.
Kilberg,
Nay.
Maladra,
Nay.
Marks,
Nay.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke.
Aye.
It's a 4-4, ladies and gentlemen. I have the pleasure of casting the tie-breaking vote, and I will vote nay on the amendment. We're back to the main motion, ladies and gentlemen. Questions on the main motion? The floor is open. Clerk, take the roll.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowering,
Aye.
Bruno,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Maladra.
Aye.
With a vote of 8 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 2 absent, item 10, good lord, where are we? 10E has been approved. We jump to item 11, folks, public comment. Item 12, new business. Anyone from the dais, new business? A motion to adjourn would be in order. Motion by Alderperson Marks. All in favor of adjourning, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We'll take just a moment, and Alderperson Patchke will lead us through the committee of the whole.
Officer, have that man removed.
Please do. I'm calling this Committee of the Whole meeting of Monday, October 16th to order. And note that Alderperson Ruby and Alderperson Kosarog are absent this evening. I am Alderperson Martha Paschke from the 4th Ward. I have the pleasure of serving with Alderperson Amy Mayer. Item 2 on our agenda tonight is to approve Committee of the Whole minutes from September 18th, 2023.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Alderperson Bruno, seconded by Alderperson Bowering. Can I have a voice vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Third item on our agenda tonight is our items of business. 3A is to consider draft resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Petroleum Technologies Equipment for a total not to exceed amount of $291,500 for fuel system upgrades. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved by Alderperson Marks, seconded by Alderperson Bruno. And can we get a summary introduction from?
Sure. So the fiscal year '24 budget has allocated $300,000 for upgrades to the city's current fuel dispensing system. In 2022, staff was informed that the dispensing system installed in 1999 is no longer being supported for software or parts. Thereafter, there was also a new requirement by the state fire marshal indicating that fuel pumps would need to be dug up, removed, and placed into a double-wall containment system by the end of calendar year '25. So staff has begun to research and weigh options to continue with underground storage tanks or move to an above-ground storage tank system. During the research period, it was also noted that the storage tanks are coming to the end of their service life and would need to be removed and replaced in 2028 per state code. Given the mandated removal and replacements and the annual cost for tank testing and monthly required inspections, the decision was made to move forward with an above-ground storage tank. An RFP was issued to include the removal of the fuel system, potential remediation of soils, and installation of one above-ground storage tank with new dispensing units and tracking software. We received 2 proposals, the one with Petroleum Technology Equipment submitted the lowest proposal in the amount of $265,000. We are asking for a 10% contingency to account for any unforeseen field changes. And we do have with us this evening Superintendent Landers, who is happy to answer any additional questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Alderperson Kilberg? Oh, your microphone. Oh, okay. Alderperson Mayer.
I have to. I'll sit back.
This is the fuel dispensing station that I saw when I toured the facilities a couple years ago, right?
Correct.
And it wasn't working very well then either.
No.
Okay, all right. That's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, sensing none. Do we need a roll call or voice vote? Let's have a roll call vote.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowering?
Aye.
Bruno?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
Unanimous. Item 3B, consider draft resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute all required agreements related to the general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2024. Do I have a motion? Moved by Alderperson Bowering, seconded by Alderperson Marks. And can we get an introduction?
Okay. So the electric utility has identified future capacity and infrastructure needs due to an increased development in the Southeast Master Plan area, the North Geneva Business Park and the Fabian Parkway and South Kirk Road corridors. You may recall over a year ago, the City Council approved a reimbursement resolution for a future bond issue. The electric rates approved earlier this year include the debt service payments for this bond issue. To begin construction in spring 2024, the issuance is scheduled for the end of January 2024, and in order to start the process, we must have agreements in place related to the bond before we can issue any bonds. There are 4 participants in the bond refunding process. You have Spear Financial, Chapman & Cutler, Robert Baird, and Moody's Investor Services. So you have an advisor, a bond and disclosure counsel, an underwriter, and then the bond rating. And so those are all the agreements that we're asking you to approve this evening. And we do have Finance Director Cruz with us this evening if you have any additional questions.
Are there any questions? Alderperson Kilberg.
For real. The county obviously has recently completed an installation. They're going to be dedicating it this Friday at 10 o'clock.
I think that's the next item.
So, pardon me. The bonds. Good question. I don't have a question.
It was
Not calling on you next time. Any other questions, or any questions from the dais? Seeing none, sensing none, can we have a roll call vote?
Bowering,
Aye.
Bruno,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Items 3C, consider draft resolution authorizing execution of a professional services agreement with Interface Engineering for the study of utility-scale solar, storage, and carbon offsets in the amount of $139,250. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Moved by Alderperson Bruno, seconded by Alderperson Mayer. And can we get an introduction, please?
Sure, I actually don't have much to add to the agenda item, but the Electric Division was tasked with studying the utility-scale solar within the Geneva corporate limits as part of the 23-24 budget. As staff does not possess the expertise to undertake such a study, we sent out a request for proposals for professional services, and we had 4 firms responding. After careful evaluation, the proposal from Interface Engineering is recommended for a professional services agreement to undertake the study, and still with us this evening is Superintendent Holton to answer any additional questions.
Do we have any questions? Alderperson Bruno, and then Alderperson Kilberg, and then Swanson.
Not really questions, but when this came up at strategic planning, I did envision smaller steps, but after some fairly lengthy consideration, I didn't think those smaller steps could get us meaningful information for us to make the decisions we want to eventually make, whether we proceed or not. The number's a little eye-popping for me, but I think from a long-term perspective, what it's going to answer for us, I think it's worth doing. Thanks.
Alderperson Kilberg.
Yes, as I was saying, the county obviously has made a sizable investment in their facility at the Judicial Center. I was wondering, have we had any discussion with any of the parties involved in the planning and some of the lessons learned as it related to that facility? It seems like it was sort of protracted as far as the construction and everything that went with it, the site preparation, some of those types of things. Have we reached out and made any contact with anyone from the county as to what their thoughts are and in what ways that might be of some benefit to us? Because as Alderman Bruno points out, it is a sizable investment.
I have not.
Okay.
We interface with the county because of their solar installation at the Animal Control Center. That's on our system.
At the animal control.
So I could, I could certainly reach out to those contacts and see if they have anything to kind of share with us as lessons learned in shepherding that large of a system through the process.
Yeah. Because of the rain on Friday, the 13th, they did move that to this coming Friday at 10 a.m. So it might be interesting if any of the other alderpersons have time available to attend, and there might be some things that we might be able to pick up or benefit from that dedication. So, thank you.
Alderperson Swanson.
Thank you. Thank you. For the two types of projects that are going to require land, both a solar array and storage, what type of acreage would be necessary? Obviously, you would need a range. What would be the minimum size site?
Well, that's an excellent question, and that's going to be one of the key deliverables to this study. An acre of land doesn't buy you a whole lot of solar capacity. Gives you a lot of wattage, but it doesn't give you a lot of energy. I've heard, usually to get a megawatt, you need about 10 acres. If you could cover the entire site with solar panels, it'd be less than that, but you have to have access between the panels and so on and so forth. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with as part of this process of, based on our available land, it's developable for solar, kind of how much capacity can we get out of that?
Okay, and I guess I wanted to convey, I was disappointed. I asked what spaces of land were available in the city, and the response I got is no list exists. I asked for, does the city own any acreage greater than 1 acre? And the answer was that no list exists and would need to be created.
Right, before tonight, we weren't able to compile that information. We don't have just a list of all of our property just made up. We would look at GIS and then have to create that report.
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying, is that for your answer today, there wasn't a way for us to have that information for you tonight.
Okay, so it still can be forthcoming.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we can run through GIS and look at city-owned properties and look at all of that.
And I
that
guess
wasn't
where
anything.
I'm heading with that is, as Alderperson Bruno mentioned, it's an eye-popping number for this project. And phase one, the deliverables was really just site identification. It looks like there might be some additional work as to what size it could be or how it would fit with our portfolio. But my thinking was, for $46,000, really, that we can't identify what the sites are on our own? It just seemed to me to be an eye-popping number.
So as part of that, because I'll be honest with you, I was a little taken aback by the number as well, but the more I talked to them and kind of got their plan of how they want to go about this project, as part of that phase one, there's going to be a pretty extensive kind of stakeholder process. So they're going to, there's going to be several meetings with the city and stakeholders within the city, maybe SPAC, we haven't quite figured that out yet, to really suss out what Geneva is looking for moving forward. Is it just solar? Do we want to be able to provide enough solar to, offset our NextEra contract, or, what exactly are we after? And so there's more to it than just identifying potential sites. There's a lot of data gathering and analysis in that first phase that goes into that $43,000.
Okay, I guess that was not clear from the document that was in the packet, their proposal and what the deliverables were, that there was this additional insight that we're going to have. And I guess I'm again struck by, I think you just mentioned it, we could modify our Nextel or whatever the NextEra. If we're going to generate more solar, we could reduce that, I'm thinking. So that seems to me that we're saying solar is good, and so the conversation we just ended after a painful third session, it seemed we were saying, no, we want to cut it off as soon as we can, but here we're saying let's build it up. So I guess I'm confused. We don't seem to be consistent, and it just seems like a lot of dollars being spent to identify pieces of land that I think we ought to know where they are and how that would fit with the city. So that's my feeling on it. Thank you.
Alderperson Bowering.
I'm excited that we're undertaking this process. It is a lot of money, I agree. I think I would agree with Alderperson Swanson that I think we're, as a body, sending a somewhat inconsistent message. That being said, I'm glad that we're pursuing solar in this form. I would love for us to be more consistent, and perhaps down the line we'll revisit our other item. That being said, I guess it does seem to me that most of our professional staff for the electric division is really consumed with operations, and so I do think that this clearly falls outside the scope of that, so I guess it makes sense to me that we really do need to undertake an external service to examine this. And yeah, I mean, I look forward to hearing what they have to say, and I hope very interesting things come of this. Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Seeing none, sensing none. We'll have a roll call vote.
Bruno,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
I love the concept, and I love what it's trying to do. I think the amount is too much, and phase one is way too expensive for what we're getting, so I would vote nay on that.
Bowering,
Aye.
That was 7 in favor, 1 opposed, 2 absent.
Chair, could we have a representative from the company, Interface Engineering, come and probably explain a little bit more of the deliverables at the city council meeting? This is just a committee of the whole. It's not.
I will certainly ask. I don't see,
Okay.
I don't see how that would be. They're a local firm, so they
Okay,
should be able to.
maybe it'll help with some of the,
Sure.
the deliverables, and just make it a little easier for people. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. And I don't believe we have any public comment. Any items of new business from council members?
Yes.
Alderperson Maladra.
Thank you. For the last year or so, I've been in communication with a resident who owns a contracting company and uses a trailer for their work. The trailer in question is a single-axle utility trailer, 10 feet long, 6 feet wide, 3-foot walls, plain black with no signs in writing. What I'm bringing to the committee's attention is the question of whether or not we are willing to explore what appears to be an inconsistency in our code. The trailer that I just described is not allowed to be stored forward of the house anywhere, not in the driveway, not in the side yard, nowhere forward of the house. And yet trailers with jet skis or ATVs can be stored. They can be stored that way for a period of no more than 24 hours, but they can be stored like that. So we have a situation where trailers with jet skis is okay, but trailers with tools is against our code. I think we're looking at a difference between commercial use and residential use. The jet skis are allowed for 24 hours. You can tell if they've been there for 24 hours or more. Utility trailer owned by a contracting firm is moved every day. It'll never be there for more than 24 hours, and yet it'll be there every single day. However, it seems to me that in order to maintain the look and feel of residential neighborhoods, by preventing the continual storage of utility trailers, we have blocked the occasional storage, something owners of other trailers can do. So as we move into our planning and our policy discussions for the future, I would like to propose that this be one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderperson Maladra. Alderperson Kilburn?
Just a question, maybe a status report on the building study and where we're at. I guess my particular interest is the library and the status of the library and when we're going to have that presentation. Is there a
There'll be a presentation at strategic planning.
strategic planning? Okay.
I think we need to go back to Alderperson Maladra's comment and get a sense from the council if there's agreement to move
The
forward.
reason we ask that it gets brought up under new business is so that we know whether or not there's a consensus among the council to research this issue as opposed to it just being kind of a one-off issue. So I would like to just clarify and make sure that there's consensus that a majority of the council wants us to look into either changing or.
So what I was thinking is it's worth a discussion. Maybe we come away with a balance that we can find, or maybe not, but we come away with a better understanding of why we have what appears to be this inconsistency in our code.
So, one second, just first to clarify, would you be looking just for us to come back and say, here's what the code says, here's how it's been interpreted, and then have a discussion?
No,
And then-
actually, I think we would need more than that. Here's what the code says, here's how it's been interpreted, here's what other communities do.
So investigate the whole issue.
Things of
Okay.
that nature.
Alderperson Bowery?
I would support such a discussion. I know in a more casual way, I have neighbors who have a camper that they get out. They have to air it for 24 hours. They get a notice from the city every time. It's not out most of the time. It's in their garage most of the time, but it winds up getting flagged every time they get it out to air. So I think perhaps it's worth talking about why we have this and what it's hindering and who that's impacting and if that's the right way to proceed. So I would support that. Thank you.
Alderperson Mayor?
I would think that perhaps a special permit, like we used to have city stickers at some point in time. I'm glad they're gone, but, the idea is that you would you would call in and get a special permit or something to let your trailer out. Camper.
That sounds like you'd be in favor of a discussion.
Yes.
Alderperson Swanson?
I'd be in favor of a discussion. I'll be brief.
Yes, it sounds like there's a
Chairperson
desire
Paskey, if
to
I may,
discuss.
I would invite my colleagues on the council, if this documentation exists, a very similar issue arose 20-plus years ago with a resident in the second ward who worked for Matco Tools. And he drove his Matco truck, and
Right,
similar situation.
exactly.
Yeah, so it was I do not know how that was resolved.
Wasn't on the council 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I was.
So,
Oh, okay, so you were the attorney. Oh, he was on the council.
Yeah, I think,
do you remember that, Mr. Finson?
I do.
Yeah.
I think we voted it down, I think we voted it.
I simply can't recall, but
know,
nevertheless, we'll dig
yeah.
it up as part of the overall discussion, so.
30 years ago. I'm getting old.
Sounds great. Let's do it. Oops.
I just wanted to remind everybody that there is a special committee of the whole meeting next Monday, so October 23rd. Thank you.
Any more items of new business? I know Alderperson Bruno is getting tired. Do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? This committee of the whole is concluded and adjourned.
did a great job.
Thank you.